Oh, I guess Seth heard you. So do we have any takers for product stories?
I'll go.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. You want me to go?
So who is this?
It's Lisa.
I don't see. Oh, hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hey,
Okay,
I'm good. How you doing?
so Phil, can you do me a favor? Would you mind timing? And that way I can focus on what people are saying and not have to look at the time. So remember, we're going for a 2-minute story. Okay, Lisa, you ready?
Yep.
Ready, set, go.
Hi, my name is Elle, and I'm currently living in Huntsville, Alabama. I was introduced to LifeVantage from a Facebook friend. I watched one of her awesome canine presentations, and after listening to it several times, I knew I had to try it for my dog because I was literally at my wit's end. My 14-year-old mountain cur had been plagued with contact allergies for most of her life. Her hyperactive immune system caused her to overreact to grass, pollen, household cleaning products, and any foreign substances that she came in contact with. She exhibited symptoms of a body overloaded with toxins, with her crying, relentless itching, scratching, chewing, licking her feet, biting, and her skin was red, inflamed, and swollen. So for those of you who have a dog suffering with allergy symptoms, you know exactly how frustrating this can be. I had tried literally everything from conventional methods such as Apoquil, Benadryl, steroid shots, antibiotics, injections, which did nothing but weaken her immune system and drive the disease deeper into her body. I tried every natural remedy imaginable, aloe, neem sprays, essential oils, cooling raw foods, foot baths, ACV rinses, and CBD oil. I wasted hundreds of dollars working with a homeopathic practitioner for almost a year with no relief in sight, draining my pocketbook and causing me undue grief and feelings of failure. But after 3 months of being activated with these amazing synergizers, she finally has relief and rarely itches at all. The natural detoxifiers in the NFR2 cleansed her liver, detoxed her system, and rebalanced her immune system. Her coat is healthy, shiny, and glistening with no more itching. She is happy and content, more energetic and playful, and she's even lost 5 pounds. So I can't express in words how grateful I am to have found this extraordinary activator for my senior dog. I highly recommend these synergizers for your pets for both prevention and healing. And it's my mission to help our furry friends to thrive and stay healthy for many years to come. Thanks for letting me share.
Okay, awesome.
Did I go over my two?
Phil, did you get the time? I don't know.
2 minutes.
Yeah, I
17.
did.
Phil, 2
Yeah.
minutes 17.
I started to have to talk
Okay,
faster
so a
to
couple
speed it up.
I know the feeling. So remember, when you read, you can read faster than you talk.
Okay.
When you talk, there's pauses and you'll forget your words and then you have to retake it. So
Right.
you probably need to knock off at least, I would say 40 seconds off of it to be able to make it. If you hear my dog howling, I apologize. I have a female in heat and he is besides himself. He's locked up in my room and having a hissy fit. So I would say you need to knock at least 40 seconds because then when you're talking in real life, it'll go to, approximately 2 minutes.
So then
I
would you
think-
recommend that I cut out all the stuff that I tried instead of saying all the stuff that I
Yes.
tried? Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha.
so you need to shorten it. Now what you really have well is, and this is a good example for everyone, is like, this was the before, I found activation, this is what's happened. You mixed a little bit of, not really talking about the business, but I like how you said at the end, my mission is I want other people to know about this. So I think you left out that you're a naturopath, right? And that you're a dog groomer, because that gives you clout on what did skin and dogs and all of that.
Yeah.
So I would just pick one or two things of everything that you said. So and then remember that we're not lecturing people, we're not educating people, we're not trying to convince them of everything. Like, this is my story. It's almost like, I don't care what you think. This is my story. It's like, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. So my story is, I tried everything under the sun. So I would say, my dog was miserable for umpteen years with these allergies. I tried everything under the sun, from changing the diet to pharmaceuticals and everything in between, lotions, potions, you name it. This has cost me thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars. I spent a whole year working with a nutritionist, and still my dog is itching, biting, scratching. And I love how you said, if you've had a dog with these issues, you know how horrendous it is. That's the story you want to speak to that person that says, hello, yes, that's me. Right. So I like that. So everything you said is fine. The order, you led us through the story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an ending. So I think it was very good. You just need to cut out some of the things. And then I would probably emphasize a little bit more, speaking to the emotional part. Like, I'm so relieved. And, she's an older dog now, and she's had problems all her life. And for me to have, the last, hopefully lots of, years she has left living so happy, that means so much, because that, as a dog person myself, that would really speak to like, yay, I also want that for my dog. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. There's a bunch of stuff on the chat. I'm a little bit like squirrel person, so I'm not reading the chat. So if someone can read, I can't focus and read the chat. I'm like, so.
Yeah. Leave out the meds to make sure it's compliant.
Yeah, I wouldn't mention any disease. I wouldn't say this was driving this deeper, because that's almost like you lecturing people, right? It's just like,
Right,
the before
yeah.
was like, miserable dog for years. I tried everything. I spent tons of money. I worked with the vets, and then 3 months of activation, boom, I have relief. That's the story. That's the story that I want people to understand. Okay, great job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I raised my hand because I love this thing that you said about, I usually start on a happy note and then I take it to where I was. So listening to you, it just gave me the thought of like starting saying, leading a miserable life, that there is no hope, no future, is not a life we're lived. But that's too sad, right? Because you sometimes, because I listened to you say miserable and I said, well, that was my life. You see, as opposed to when I started today, I decided to change and started like, health and activation found me at a moment where my life had no direction.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Okay, you like that? I changed that today as I started. So then if you want, I can do it again. And then you can all correct me.
Are you ready to do your product story?
Well, I don't have it written, but I can do it again, because we always learn as we practice more and more.
Okay, so Phil, can you take the time? Are you ready, Florence? Ready, set, go.
Hi, I'm Florence. I'm a single mother of 3 kids, and activation and let's start again. Wait a minute. I lost it. Okay. It happens. It happens. And we're live. Okay. So I have to take it slow. Okay. So tell me when now. Okay.
Okay, go.
Hello, my name is Florence Larroca. I'm in San Juan, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean. Activation and health really found me about 9 years ago, at a time that there was no future for me. Being a single mother, there was no future for my kids. I was trying to recover from a severe head injury that left me totally not being the person that I always dreamt to be, not being a leader in the community. Forget about being an entrepreneur. I found myself yelling at my kids because my senses had heightened and I would be yelling at them, simple things as shutting down a cabinet door. You add to that a life of uncertainty because I would get lost in a way, picking them in school because I could not complete a task. So imagine having 3 kids look at you every single morning, that they would say, what's going to happen to mom? So when activation found me, because I got a call from a friend and talked to me about this investigative report, and I started trying the product, what was really fun for all of us, and it was great breakthrough for us as a family, was that my kids were telling me, mother, you were able to sleep. Mother, you're completing a sentence. Mother, this and that. So I started activating. And then when the real breakthrough, my recovery came along, was when I started stacking. So as I am feeling better and I'm in my optimal health today, I won't stop sharing with every single person that I can touch every single day, because every single person deserves a healthy life. How long?
Phil's the timekeeper. 1 minute 44. Yay! I
That's
love
all.
it. I that, to me, I mean, if anybody else has something to say, I loved it. Painted the whole picture. You drew the, you know, the whole, it was nice. You have emotion in your voice. I really liked it. I really liked it. I love how you said, you know, I started stacking, because those are things that start giving people ideas. It's not just one product. You know, that's also would make people curious, like, well, you know, what else did Florence said something about stacking, like, what's that, right? Because the ultimate goal is to create enough curiosity so that the guests come back and say, oh, that lady Florence, she said something about stacking. What does that mean? You know, so we can say, yeah, there's more than one activator. So I loved it. Does anybody else have something?
Florence, this is Barbara. I wanted to say that every time you share, like at meetup, like today was so great, and you're consistent and you tell your story so clearly and you paint a picture. I think doing it live in the meetup is a little bit better than doing it right in here. But I think your story is so nailed down and so interesting and impactful.
Thank you. There's a secret, and it's called NT, narrow tools.
Can I be the devil's advocate and
Okay.
say something? I'm Dutch. I'm half Dutch, so I'll be very blunt. Florence, when you share in the meetup, you were sharing it from your heart. But just now, in the beginning, you were a storyteller. Okay, and then halfway through, then you start speaking from your heart. So I like the flow who speaks from the heart. And I like music also, but yeah. So
Seth, you need to mute your phone.
All right, that's my invisible whip for Seth. So that's what I felt, Florence. So, you know, the beginning, you're a storyteller, and then second half, you went into story from the heart. So I would like the story from the heart.
Yeah, it just flows. When you do that, it just flows naturally.
Okay, who else? Who else wants to go? I'm trying to read the chat.
Elena, is your hands up?
Yeah, I want to practice, because I really don't, you know, practice my story, and I want to be critiqued, you know, to get it, you know, down, like you said, to flow. So can I go ahead and do that? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yes, Phil's gonna
okay,
take the time.
let me know.
Ready?
Okay, let me
Go.
So my name is Elena, and I live in San Antonio. I was introduced to this company 8 years ago. And when I was introduced by watching the ABC Primetime with John Quinones and Dr. McCord. And what caught my interest was what they said about reducing oxidative stress, which at the time I didn't know what oxidative stress meant, but I learned that it's inflammation in our body. So with my mom having 11 of us kids, I really wanted this product to try it out, with my mom. And she did try the product for a short period of time. She really did not look into the science, but my husband and I really did. So we were able to see a lot of health changes, not only my health change, but I got married at a very young age, and I had 2 children or 2 daughters, and I didn't graduate. And 5 years later, I'm divorced with no job, no education, nothing, just broken. And, it was like, what am I going to do? I have 2 daughters. So when I got introduced and then started going to, attending the meetings, I realized that this was an opportunity. So I thought, wow, this is an opportunity. And knowing that I didn't feel like I needed an education. It's just about helping others, where they're at, whether they wanted better health or they wanted a business opportunity. Like for me, I don't have retirement, and I'm doing this. I work full time, but I'm doing this, in the nooks and crannies of my time. So because of how it has changed my health, it has given me personal development. I mean, it just has grown me in so many ways. And I want other people to know that not only, especially the health part of it, but I also want them to know that, there is a business opportunity, and you don't have to feel like just because you didn't graduate, you can't do something, because this is for everyone. Thank you.
So that was 2 minutes 22. Okay. So I'm just going to give you the general. So you have to decide if this is going to be a product story or a business story. So it's okay to say, when I watched an ABC report. You don't have to say it's with Joan Quinones and Dr. McCord and they talked about oxidative stress, because that's just eating up your time. So you just say, I was introduced to this company through an investigative report, and initially my interest was for my mom. You don't have to say your mom had 11 kids, all that. That's just, so I love something that Carrie Dickey says, I'm going to butcher it, but it's like, if it's not necessary to say, it's not necessary to say it.
If it's not necessary to say, it's necessary not to say.
Yeah, that's right. So what happens with your story is, you talked about your mom, having 11 kids, you talked about the divorce, you talked about your daughters, you talked about having no education, then you jump to retirement, then I understand, like, yes, this is for everyone, but remember, we're not talking at people. You're telling your story. So you don't have to sell this to other people. You're saying, wow, I realized that someone like me who had gone through divorce, I had no education, but I could still work this on the nooks and crannies of my day, and I could help other people, which I love to do. And I could also prepare for retirement, which I haven't been preparing, or I'm in my 50s and I have no retirement, whatever, however you want to say it. So it's all about you. It's not about telling people like, hey, you should look at this because you have no education. Hey, you should look at this because you have no retirement. No, it's like, this is what I found out. I found out that although I was single mom, went through a horrible divorce, had health issues, I could still work this business and hopefully help with my retirement or something like that. Does that make sense, Elena?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so I see this is your business story. It's not your product story.
Okay.
You can say, I had wonderful results with the product, but it's not about, oh, I had no energy and no this, because now you're turning into the product. So this is just the business. This is why I love this business. I had no clue that someone like me that had all these things that happened in life, I wasn't able to get an education, I could still be successful because of the personal growth, because of the support, because of, you know, you can mention 3-4 things. So something that I learned, there's a friend of mine who's a teacher, and she told me this: people cannot retain more than 3 things. So when you do a laundry list of 10 things, by the time you're by number 10, people have forgotten all the others. So it's much better to say, you know, I could not believe that someone who had, you know, single mom, gone through divorce. That's one thing. I had no education. And in spite of having health issues, those 3 things. Now people can remember those 3 things, but if you go on to, and this and this and this and that, now they forgot everything. So and then after those 3 things, I could still be successful in this business because I could do it in the nooks and crannies of my day. There's tons of support, and I love my personal growth. 3 things again. So for each little topic, you do 3 things, done, 3 things, done, 3 things, done, because that's all people can remember.
Okay.
So you have a great story. You just have to reorganize it, and then, you know, just, Suzanne did it, and she posted it on CEO Women, and she read it out loud, and we kept giving her feedback. So if you want to do it that way, you can do it that way.
Okay.
And just
thank
fine
you.
tune it. Get it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Can I
Okay.
do the,
Any more takers?
I'm happy to try one too.
Okay. Who's this? It's just I can't
This is
see you.
Sue.
So.
Sorry, this is Sue Edwards, Suzanne, Sue. So,
Oh, hi, Sue. Okay.
hi. So
Are you ready?
I am ready. My name is
Okay,
Sue
go.
Edward, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. With the stress of moving just before my senior year in high school, my hair had changed the texture and it severely thinned, and I was really concerned. So I went to an endocrinologist. I was in tears after he said prescribed a heart pill due to its side effect of growing hair, and birth control pills because my hormone levels, he said, were off. In my late 30s, my best friend was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I learned all about the hormone sensitive cancers. So I stopped all the pills and searched for other holistic approaches. After taking the Nerf 2 and using the hair care products, my scalp is now less sensitive to the sun, and I have confidence again to wear it down because it looks good and I feel good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other great effects are going to be happening with my hair along those lines. Thank you.
So I don't know if I'm a little bit torn about you mentioning the medication. I don't know. Does anybody else have some feedback on this? I don't know if to say, you know, since in my teens, I've struggled with hair thinning and loss of hair or whatever it is. And then I would, what I think I would add, because what I felt was missing from the story was the emotional part. So I can imagine it, but you didn't expressly tell me. So I don't know if you can go back and say, you know, you can imagine for, you know, being a young girl, you know, we are so self-conscious about how we look, and, you know, the peer pressure, all the other girls that had pretty hair, and I had this issue, and then me having to go to the doctor, which just prescribed a lot of medication. Or you say, I was just told that, you know, my hormones were out of balance, and they just prescribed a bunch of medication. And then years later, with my friend getting sick, I started doing my own research, and then found out how, you know, some of the things that I had been taking for so long could actually be not good for my health. I would put it that way. And that way you're not mentioning cancer, you're not, you know, although the cancer doesn't have anything to do, I don't know, somebody help me out. This is just, I just want a little bit more of.
Can I ask, is your hair loss due to hormone imbalance? Maybe you can mention that.
Well, and that's so I guess part of my emotional part of it is that I didn't feel like I had any option other than he gave me these things. And oh wow.
That's it. Oh,
So
that's it. That's it, Sue. That's it. Because
okay.
that's how a lot of people feel, right? It's like I
Right.
was at a loss. Like this cost me a lot of, I mean, we
Grief?
can't say anxiety. Grief. Grief is a good, because grief is not a disease. Anxiety is, but grief is not.
Yeah, grief and
And
embarrassment,
I wanted
right?
to say I got a little confused with
Embarrassment,
your
yes.
story because you were in high school, then you jumped to your 30s, and I sort of missed that gap of you're in a new school, you know, you're coming there and you're not feeling your best of how you were before and meeting new, you know, high school students and, you know, how that played on your self-worth or something of that nature. But then all of a sudden you jump to in your 30s and birth control and so I was having trouble putting that together. Maybe you want to expand a little more with that.
Too short, not enough. I got it. So I
Yeah,
think the idea of
I'd like to jump in just a little bit. There wasn't enough emotional hardship because any woman at any age losing the hair, it's very emotional, but at that age, so I just wanted more intimacy. That's maybe the wrong word, but I wanted some emotional understanding that how hard it really was.
Yep. Agree.
Also, you can do something like phrase it, like you could say something and then pause for a brief second and then go into the next part of it. That's something that I need to do because I talk really quickly. So that pausing really helps me to go, and I can really start feeling like my hair loss was due to X, Y, Z. You can imagine that felt for me. It was really tough. And then you can go to the next one. So that can actually, even though your voice is very, what's the word? Your voice is very level. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Your voice is very level. So what you can do, those pauses can actually help you say what you want to say without having a heightened voice. Where Florence will speak, she speaks really excited, but yours is just more chilled out. So the pausing, the phrasing, I think can help you bring the emotion without the excitement. It helps out.
Okay, you got lots of pointers, Sue.
thank you. And the one with the dog, thank you so much for your help with that. And Caralee, wow. Wow. I'm just so excited about taking some time when I have some time to digest that and figure out what did you do to make what I wrote so good.
You got
Just a
in your heart you got into my heart with your dog. It's just a heart thing.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
We're suckers for dogs. Vivian, Caralee, and me. Okay, anybody else?
Should I tell my Lacey story? I haven't done it in a long time.
Yes, go.
Gosh. Okay. Hi, I'm Caralee Gould. I live in Morston, and my story is about my wonderful little dog that was just the joy of my life. And she ran and played, and oh my goodness, she was always having a wonderful time. And then she started getting sore, and she was limping, and she had to slow down. And I tried everything. The vets told me I tried everything, and I did it for the length of time they said. And then I reached out for more because nothing was helping her. And then my friend said, Caralee, just put her on Pet Tandem. And I did. This makes me cry because I did, because I got my dog back, and she could run with me. She could race me to the barn because we always race to the barn, and she couldn't do that. She was boinging. She was 12 years old. 12 years old, and it turned her. She was joyous, and she just had all her life back. And she gave me just the most fantastic example of what activation can really do for a body. It was, so thanks, Lillian. I think I'm done. Thank you.
1 minute 07. Woo! So you see, it's not about how long, because I bet you we had everybody in tears. But you see how much emotion she's putting in. And guess what? This dog had arthritis. Did Caralee mention arthritis? No, she's dog was limping and she was sore and she couldn't do the things she loved to do. And when you're talking about stuff for people, it's the same way. So you don't have to mention the disease to say, you know, I couldn't do the things that I loved. I woke up every day and you know, I felt like curling back into bed, and you know, I was missing on my grandkids stuff. I was missing on my kids stuff. You can say lots. Yeah, limping is okay. So the problem is disease. Anything that ends in itis is a disease, and apparently anxiety and even inflammation. Now we're not supposed to say inflammation. Pain, I'm not sure, because I think pain is a manifestation of something, but it's not a disease. So anything that's a disease we can't say, so you have to describe. So that's what Caralee did. So she painted the story. You know, the before was, you know, this dog meant so much to me, and then I couldn't do anything to help her. I tried everything and nothing worked. And then I started activation and I got my dog back. Boom. That's a fairy tale story. That's what we want, the happily ever after. So that's how all our stories should be reframed. Aches and discomfort rather than pain. Yes. You know, it took me half an hour to get going in the morning. And remember, you don't have to do the laundry list, just like 3 things. These are 3 things that were happening. And then I had this and this and this. And what that caused is that I couldn't do this and this and this. And then I found activation. I was introduced by my friend. So the little details get lost. You don't have to say, oh, I went to a meeting in Sarasota where there was this person that was taught, there was this doctor, and he showed us that ABC primetime report where that just ate 15, 20 seconds of your time. And that's really not important, because what people are going to remember is what, you know, the feeling part. And that's what Caralee just did. So I hope this helps. Does anybody else want to? And, you know, going back to, oh my God, I forgot. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot your name. I'm so bad with names. Was it, okay. I just can't remember. When you were talking about the divorce and your daughters, sorry?
Elena, maybe?
Elena.
Elena.
Yes, Elena. When you were saying, so see there, you know, put a little bit of the emotion there. You know, I'm a single mom. I was, you know, I was kind of scared, like, how could I provide for my kids? You know, that's part of the emotion. I was scared. I was worried. You know, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your name. You know, sometimes I would cry myself to sleep because I was so worried. I didn't know how I was gonna, you know, provide for my kids after the divorce. That paints a picture of like, oops, you know, we can all relate to that, with being worried, so worried about X, right? So that's also important. I think you can bring a little bit more of the emotional part, what you were feeling, how you can, that's also what makes people know that we're real and we're not just like, oh, they're just advertising all this stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, should we do one more? Phil, you said you were working on your business story. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
And put me on the spot. And the only reason why I'm trying to perfect my business story, funny enough, I actually got a message from Life Vantage Australia and doing a Pro 3 online virtual convention. They've actually asked me to share my story. So I'm like, I've been sitting all day trying to like go in the mirror, what I say. So yeah, it's fun. I don't even think I've got it right. So I have to time myself. So if I go over 2 minutes, I won't tell you. Okay, I'll give it my best. What's that?
That they will probably give you more than 2 minutes.
Yeah, they said 2 minutes. That's what they've given me. So anyway,
You're Mr. Talky Talk. You can really fit a lot in.
I think for me, I talk too fast, but let me get into it. So big deep breath. Oh, there we go. Okay. My name's Phil. I'm an autoimmune transformation specialist, and a lot of my clients I work with have got gut issues. And that's the first thing that's always come to mind is gut issues. So when I actually saw Life Vantage and I saw that it had ProBio, I jumped all in like a kid in a candy store, because all my clients are scattered all over the world. And I found that they're all asking about probiotics in certain countries. I had to research what was available in the US or New Zealand or Australia, cumbersome. And I found one thing out. I was doing all the work, not getting paid for it. So when I saw it, I jumped all in. But then when I saw NRF2, I came super, super obsessed with what I'd actually come across, because when I dived down to the science, and I noticed one of the patents that they had, that they actually could reduce CRP. Now, CRP is C-reactive protein. It's an inflammation marker in the bloods. I dived down to that, took it together, and I basically looked and said, okay, I need to share this with my friends, my family, my clients, and everybody that is a human being and a dog that needs to know about this. So what I did, threw some slides together and started sharing it. And before I knew it, I had these people coming on board. They were super excited. I had support from my business partner. I supported the community. And this is how I started growing my business. And essentially what happened, I sat behind a computer all day, every day, and I just shared. And that's what I did. And basically people just came on board and I started growing my business. Before I knew it, I went from Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3, and now I just don't stop. I just keep sharing it and sharing it and sharing it. Now, what I love here, it's a small investment with a huge amount of community and a huge amount of support. Thanks for letting me share. 128.
Okay, so I'm missing a little bit because you are such a fun and loving person. So I miss a little bit, like when you say, I want to help everybody shine. I'm not, it's great, the business, but I'm really pro people. I want to help everyone. I think I missed that. I don't know. I said it.
Yeah.
Also, I want to point out that when it's for LifeVantage, it's great that you mentioned Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3, but when we have the meetups, people have absolutely no clue. So you will lose people when you say that. So I think I would rephrase it like saying, I love how my business has been growing, or my business has been growing, 20% every month. So you can put
advancing.
No, because I
No.
think most people don't understand. Like
Mm.
most people have no clue. So I would speak more in terms, remember how they say, talk to people like they're third graders. So if you say, I've been able to double my business in 6 months, that's something that everybody can grasp, as opposed to,
Okay.
Pro 2, Pro 3, for that's for our local meetups where we just have guests. I think that for the LifeVantage, that would be, appropriate.
Yeah, I was trying to use the Pro 1, Pro 2, 3 because I was doing the Pro 3 sort of talk. So I was trying to relate it to that one. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying in terms of progressing. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
And says
I also
Bill
want to
needs my
point out,
energy.
I want to point out something from a person that has been to lots of elite academies and things like that. And I think you have a unique position, and I would probably point it out, is that you had this big client base, because you make it sound like, oh, I'm just going to sign in my computer and everybody's going to call me and sign up. And we know it's not that way. I'm glad it's happening for you that way, but for most of the people, it doesn't happen that way. So I just would be a little cautious about maybe, because you said your time was how much? 1 minute.
1 minute.
And I'm kind of, and I
28.
apologize because I think I'm mixing two things. I think for the LifeVantage stuff, I would take maybe like half a minute to explain, I have this client-based business and I'm calling them back and tell them I have something that can help them. And I'm doing this online. So the part that you've done everything online and you don't do meetings and stuff like that, that's great. Because I guess some people in LifeVantage would love to be able to do it that way. But for the, I think the tweak for our personal little meetups is more that you want to use this business. Yeah, it's great, you're making money, but I really want to help people. And I have, and I am helping a lot of people, because you bring a lot of clout because to our meetups, because you're saying I have clients all over the world and they're all being helped by this. And I think that's important for people to hear that. And it's something that people will understand. It gives a lot of validation. Like if we bring guests and they're wondering, would this work for me? They're going to remember, well, that guy with the Australian accent, he says he has clients all over the world and he's helped all of them. And am I making any sense?
Yeah, 100%. I get it. Yeah, 100%. Barbara, I want to say something.
I was going to
Love the
say,
feedback.
one thing that made a big impression to me the first times I heard your stories, your business story, was that you were a successful financial planner. And so I think that's really important for people to know that you come from, you're not going to be in a business that's not going to be lucrative. And then when you've brought in the points of making X number of dollars, how much money you need in the bank to do that, or when you put that little example together as a monetary thing, I think that's so valuable. And of course, for the Pro 3 Australia, that would be a really good, I think, to really show people that you can make money and this isn't, a little hobby. You're getting people from around the world, but you've been a successful financial planner.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if we can focus on the wealth and the health, I think that's really what we're looking at. And yeah, I think that's brilliant, Barbara. So thanks for the reminder. Love it.
Yeah, because the gut part really is for the product story almost. Just saying autoimmune, you don't have to go in as much product detail if you're doing the business one, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you. So cool, these containers.
So I think to wrap it up, for your LifeVantage thing, saying that you're a financial planner is great. Talking a little bit more about the mechanics of how you do the business is great. And then also, what was the last thing? Oh, and then what Barbara said about the money in the bank. This is parenthesis. So Miguel and I are doing our taxes, and we get that little form that you get. So we have a money market, and I think the interest was like $15 for the year. So I remember what you said, and I go like, yeah, when people say like, oh, I only got, $15 a month from LifeVantage, I go like, well, multiply that, that's 12 times more than what this money does in a year in the bank. So I remember, so your example is great, and most people don't catch that. So I think it's great. I would find out how much time you have to talk, because that's a great
2 minutes.
thing.
Yeah, they give me 2 minutes. Yeah.
And
Oh, they give you
also
2
that
minutes.
you're in Bali, but you're under another country. Like you're able to be virtual, but that you're operating from where you want to live, but you started, and you have citizenship. I don't, you have to go into citizenship and all that, but if there's just a tiny way, I don't know if you think that's valuable, Lillian, or not.
I think you can
I think
say
because
the
of
wording
the,
like I can travel and still be registered anywhere in the world and really still operate. So I get what you're saying. These are such cool pointers. So neat.
Because it's painting a bigger picture.
I was thinking also your credentials of being a financial planner, also from the standpoint of people who are looking at this as a real thing, like you saying that that's your history is also like somehow making all of this even better. Just saying that, like,
Yeah.
I chose to do this and I have this background.
Yeah, I've actually given me such cool ideas, because what I usually would say, I used to be a financial planner, but most of the people I'd help with their financial situation, I used to talk about health, because most of them couldn't get their insurance together because their bloods were off. So I started giving some pointers on the side. And then from there, I got bored of that job, and I now became helping people with their health. And I think that's a great way. Just ideas you guys give me. I think that's smart. So yeah, cool.
The segue.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because like when we talk about, people think that only, losers or something go into network marketing, and that just validates the career.
Yeah, 100%. Lillian, back to you. Thanks for all the pointers. So cool.
okay. Let me, oh gosh, where did it go? I'm working from my phone because I couldn't be in the living room because my dog. So Marcy's asking, do you want to say Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3 as most people would know? No, you don't want to. I don't think we need to say that for the meetups. Okay, well, this is great. So remember, so I'm going to give you one last pointer. So once you have your story down, I want you to read it with emotion, and I want you to record yourself on your phone. And then I want you to play it over and over and over and over while you're driving, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're making breakfast, while you're feeding your dogs, so that you hear yourself. And then you're going to memorize it. And then you're also going to find ways like, oh, you know, I want to change this a little bit. I want to change that. Then you record it again until you fine tune it and you're happy with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just the more you say it and the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get. And then once you have your 2-minute story down pat, you need to turn that into a 1-minute story, because the 1-minute story is the story for when you're at the post office, at the checkout, at the supermarket paying for stuff, you're waiting, you know, I don't know, XYZ, and you strike a conversation with someone and this comes up and you can say da 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 in 1 minute, and people go like, oh, interesting, okay, great, I need to go, like, how can I contact you? And then you can get their information on how you want to contact them. So it's important to have, that's what we call the elevator pitch, which is you in the time that it takes an elevator to go a couple of floors, you should be able to tell your story to someone. That's why it's called the elevator pitch. So just, it's a work in progress. Like, you know, Florence has a great story, and like everybody said, like when she says it on Meetup, it comes out so much from the heart because she's been practicing for a long time. So it is true that practice makes perfect, but you don't have to be perfect to get started. So just get your story, get it done, better done than perfect. And then just keep on practicing. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, it's going to sound like a lot of work, and it's going to sound, I don't want to confuse you, but you can have more than one story. So Caralee has her personal story, her dog story, her husband's story. You can have more than one story, but get with one, fine tune, especially for the products, because we know we have, like Sue has her dog story and now she has her own story. So you can have more than one, but after you have one done and you follow the steps, then you're going to see the other ones are going to come easier. And then you can flip flop from one to the other. Because one of the things that Seth mentioned this morning is, if you think you're going to have someone at the meetup, if you invited someone and you know what their issue is, then you can put it and say, hey, so let's say, for example, I have a person that I've approached because they have hair loss. I would love to have Sue tell her story. So I can do a heads up and say, hey, Sue, if you're going to be on the meetup tonight, can you tell your hair story? If I know I'm going to have a dog person, I can say, hey, Caralee, can you be on and tell your dog story? Or if someone I know, Jacob is an athlete, I can say, hey, can you tell your, you know, plantar fasciitis story? So you can have more than one story, and it's going to be very handy in all the meetups. Okie dokie. So we will be doing this again the first Tuesday of May. But if you want to practice and put it on your on the CO Women, we'll all pitch in and help. Okay. So
Thank you
does
so much,
anybody
Lillian? Oh, sorry.
No, I don't know if anybody had a last minute something. If not, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful.
Thank you.
Okay.
You guys are great.
Someone
What a
could,
Thank
team.
you.
Guys are
Thank
great.
you.
I
Thank
put
you.
Stop.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Stop. Kim wants to say something. Kim wants to say something. Go ahead, Kim.
my,
Oh, go Kim.
I put my brief story in the chat. I don't know if you want to copy it and read it. I don't know if, you know, it's very off the cuff. So I just,
But can
typed
you
and-
I just copied it.
can you put it on CO Women? Can
yes,
we copy
absolutely.
it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I will do that right now. Thank you.
Okay.
Just a quick one before we do go. I was thinking of actually doing the blitz calls once a week, which is Tuesday, and then just we're doing it every Tuesday and Thursday. So we're just going to move to Tuesday, and I was thinking to actually do like a rolling subject every week. So here we're talking about your story, Maybe next week we can talk about inviting, because I know Sue's been doing so awesome with her inviting skills there. And then next week we can either do how to present or how to, you know, just look at maybe 4 subjects. And there's always a rolling sort of a week. So because there's so many Zooms, as we all see, and there's too many things going on in training. So if somebody wants to come on, I just want to do inviting skills, I can come on, let's say the second Tuesday of the month, or I want to do presentation skills, I come on the third one. So just to keep that nice and tight. So instead of going, oh, someone's going to miss out something on one of the blitz calls, and meanwhile they get on there, it's nothing they want to talk about. It's not what they're looking for. Make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what if we rotated? So first Tuesday is story, and then we do ITT, how to invite, how to follow up, and how to bring people to the team.
Perfect.
Ideas on rotating on that.
Yeah.
Because I
perfect.
think a lot
And
of people you can invite, and then when we come to follow up, we follow up a little bit, and then I think we run out of ideas on how to follow up. So I think that would be a great topic. And then also, I know we invite a lot to the team stuff, and we know the success rate is kind of like you invite 10 people and 1 person shows up. So maybe some ideas on how to get that better on that. And then we're working on the ITT all the time.
Perfect. I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Phil, for putting this up. Because
Thanks to everybody to contribute. I think that's the cool thing. It's not just about me or you, it's about everybody's collective. I think that's the cool part. So, and we're all learning from everybody's stories. So I'm loving it all. So keep doing the do and having fun, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
yes.
Pointer. See you guys.
Good
Bye.
night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.